There's a fish. Yep. Feels pretty good. It's good bass. Might be the biggest of the day. What is happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to Cross Country Bank Angler. I'm out here again. Let's see if we can catch a couple of fish. I'm been doing something a little different today from what I normally do. I'm fishing a bigger body of water today. This is a reservoir out here, and normally when I fish this place, I'll choose one spot and pick it over pretty thoroughly. But today I think I'm going to be kind of more running and gunning, I guess you could say. Hopping around to different spots, because I've been trying to make a video out here at this reservoir. A few times I've been out here and tried to get some content out here for you guys, but it just hasn't panned out. And when you're fishing from the bank in a big place like this, it is pretty tricky. It's just the biggest challenge is finding the fish. And when you're on foot, your ability to do that is limited. You can't go halfway across the lake or cover all of the water. So there's a bit more kind of luck involved. But today I've got 3 or 4 spots that I'm gonna hit, and I'm gonna just try to spend 1 hour at each spot. Unless I start catching fish, then I'll stay at a spot longer until the bite slows down. It's that time of year when the fishing really starts to slow down. Overall, the number of catches starts to decrease. It's with that kind of that late fall, early winter transition here, where it's early December, kind of dreary, cloudy conditions today, low visibility conditions. So it's gonna be this time of year, it's gonna be tricky. What I'm kind of hoping for is that there's still gonna be a few fish still shallow, still looking to feed, still trying to get those last couple of meals in before the winter really sets in. But I'm really not sure what to expect. The fish, we've had some milder days early this week, but we've also had some cooler days, those swinging back and forth. So not sure if we're going to really get a lot of bites today, but like I said, we're out here going to give it a shot. You never know until you throw. So let's go. Alright people, so I just started a 1 hour timer on my phone. Once that goes off, I'm gonna start heading to a different spot if we haven't caught anything. I'm gonna start off here with the Baitcaster. Just spooled some fresh line on it, and I'm going to be throwing a lipless crankbait to start off with here. This is the Cordell Super Spot. Don't think I've caught anything on this lure this year, but when it comes to lipless crankbaits, it's one of my favorites. So yeah, still kind of trying to look for that reaction bite here, even though it's pretty cold. This little cove right here has kind of got a little bit of wind blowing into it, so maybe there's, a bass or something like that around. Kind of mostly targeting bass and, chain pickerel. Oh man, thought I had something, but it's someone's line. Well, this time of year I really tend to go out for bigger fish. I hope so.
They're out there. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. People just live in Magnolia, but we have the old reservoir.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's night and day.
Okay.
I think it's 2,600 acres.
Wow.
Big. Somebody caught a 21-pound catfish last summer.
That's awesome.
It was.
You too. So I've got my medium spinning setup with me today as well. Just these two rods, and on this I've got a finesse type presentation here. This is just like a little Ned rig jig head, 1/8 ounce I think, and then I've got half of a June bug dinger as my plastic. Something very finesse that I can kind of work a little more slowly. All right, people, we are at our second spot of the day. Might spend a little more time here just because there's a little more water to cover. Anyway, I'm gonna start just making a few casts off the bank here. We're trying to just cover some water right now. I lost the lipless crank, the cotton Cordell that we were using, and what I've got tied on instead is this Bomber flat-sided crankbait. I'm gonna start off with this. I have two colors of this lure. I'm gonna start off with this Fire Tiger type pattern for a little while, but the water in this area is actually looking clearer than where we were before. So maybe we'll switch to a more natural pattern. All right, people. So we just took off that Ned rig and tied on the Z-man Slim Swimz 2.5 inch sort of finesse swim bait on a 1/8 ounce jig head. This is something that has worked at this spot before. So just gonna see if we can get one to bite it. There's a fish. For sure. On the Slim Swimz. Feels pretty good. It's a bass. Oh, it's a crappie. Nice crappie. Okay. Okay, we're figuring something out. Ooh, nice crappie. Probably the biggest one I've caught this year. It's not huge, but it's big enough to make me think it was a bass. So, like I said it before, usually crappie don't fight that hard, but this one actually fought fairly well. It's about a 10-inch black crappie out here at the reservoir. It has been a grind, people. It has been a grind. So it feels good to get on a fish here, and it's not, not huge, but it's not a bad fish either. Gave a decent fight for its size. This reservoir does have a good population of black crappie, so happy to see this guy show up. Pretty fish. Appreciate you, bud. I was kind of expecting to get a skunk out here, but this crappie saved us. All right, got our picture. Thanks again. Oh, crappie, I appreciate you. It's a cold day out here, so feels good to catch one. Okay, he's a little confused. Go out the other way. You can figure it out. There you go, buddy. There you go. You figured it out. Smart fish there. All right, so maybe we just needed to give up on the crankbait. I feel like I've come here several times wanting to catch them on a crankbait, and it just doesn't work out. So let's keep throwing the Slim Swimz around. And like I said, this bait has worked here before, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't try to make things more complicated than they already are. Start throwing the swim bait. We start getting on like a little pattern here with this thing. There's another fish. It's a little bass. Okay. So I do have some bigger swim baits too. Maybe we should try a bigger swim bait on like the bait caster, but there's another fish. Not big by any means, but chubby little bass on the swim bait. Of course, now the hook's caught in my glove, so I'm just gonna give this guy a toss. Sorry, bud. Chubby little fish for his size, probably 7 inches. Got a fish. Stronger one. Man, it's pulling. Better bass. We got him dialed in, people. Seems like that's a nicest fish so far. Fought good. All right. Check that out, folks. That's a nice fish there. Healthy bass. Look at the body shape on that one. Pretty stocky. Fish population in here doing well, it seems like. It's about a 12-inch fish, maybe a pound. Fought well. Fought very well. Not much of a, stripe or bold markings on this bass, but he's healthy and gave a good fight. So I'm very happy to be catching this fish. I think we've figured something out here with that little swim bait. So I'm gonna get a picture of this fish and send him back. Beautiful bass. Nicest one so far. We've just been casting in that one location, and there must be a concentration of fish over there because they're starting to eat. All right, thank you, Mr. Bass. There he goes. Keep on casting the Z-man Slim Swimz swim bait. There's a fish. Doesn't feel that big, but it's not small. Another bass. Another small bass. All right, buddy, let's get you out of here. There's definitely a concentration of fish out there looking to eat. Thank you, bud. I appreciate you. There he goes. Just need a bigger one to show up. Wow, it's like every cast. They don't feel like very big fish, but still. Oh, that's not bad. It's not a bad fish. It's every cast, folks. Hold on, buddy. I don't want you to fall on these rocks. Okay. Wow. I mean, that was back-to-back casts there, folks. Pretty bass. Pretty bass. That's probably like an 11-incher. I have to say, I really like seeing how healthy the fish are out here. Sometimes you go out to a pond or something and the fish are pretty skinny or, got big heads. The fish out here are not like that. They are healthy, round, rotund fish. eating up good apparently, and they're still hungry. You know, they're not satisfied. They want more. So glad to be out here catching a few bass on this cold, cloudy day. All right, thank you, largemouth. Thank you, bass. Still ready to eat. How many more can we catch from this one spot? How many fish are out there lurking, waiting for my swim bait? We're not making super long casts, you know, it's not a heavy lure, but tell you what, these fish didn't want the crankbait one bit. They needed the subtlety of a little swim bait. Here it is, guys. It's some kind of snake here on the rocks. I don't know how well you can see him. Might be a garter snake. But you know, it's cold, so he's not very active. But you know, these rocks, they actually hold a little bit of heat, so I think it's attracting this guy. You know, keeping him a little warmer than you normally would be. But he's not moving. I think he's alive though. Yeah, pretty sure he's alive. Pretty interesting wildlife out here today. You know, that snake was hanging out on these rocks, so I'm wondering if the rocks are also bringing in the fish. You know, maybe they're also being warmed a little bit by them. But I'm gonna definitely spend a few more minutes casting around this area since we caught several fish pretty quickly. There we go, another one. Ooh. These bass are fighting hard. Nice. Nice fish. Healthy fish. Love to see that. Here we go, people. Look how chubby. Just look how chubby these bass are. That's about a 10-incher, but he's stocky for a 10-incher. Z-man Slim Swimz came in clutch. Something about a small swim bait. It can really save the day sometimes. It's a subtle presentation, but you can still, you know, fish it relatively fast, cover some ground with it. And definitely one of my preferred soft plastics. Thank you, bud. I appreciate you. All right, well, this trip is already worth it. We have found the fish, and like I said, that's the hardest part about fishing out here, is just finding them, because you've got so much water. But this is a place where I'd had some luck before. There we go, another one. I think it's a smaller one, but all right, next cast, folks. I don't know what else to say, but this is pretty fun, even though it's cold. Just doing a slow and steady retrieve. You know, keeping it kind of close to the bottom. There's a fish. They're small, but they're active. They're hungry. So here's a fish. Another bass. And he thumped it pretty hard. Thought it was going to be bigger than that. Still, another fish, about a 10-incher. All right. Well, maybe he's more like 9.5. All right, another little bass here. Hitting the Slim Swimz. A couple more casts. You know, every time we catch one, we get to do a couple more casts. Another fish? Yep. Feels pretty good. It's a good bass. Might be the biggest of the day. We got him dialed in on the Slim Swimz, people. They are sitting in these shallow rocks, waiting for a swim bait. A small swim bait. Look at that. I think that's the biggest of the day. 1 pound at least. Look at just a healthy shape to these bass. Really healthy shape. Beautiful fish. All right. Beautiful fish. Thank you. Thank you for biting. Appreciate you, bud. There you go. Off. Yep, there you go. You figured it out. All right, people. It's time to go ahead and wrap things up. It's starting to get dark. Kind of an interesting day. Lots of wildlife out today. We saw that garter snake and lots of different, aquatic birds and stuff out here as well. Interesting to see. The fishing was pretty tricky, as I kind of expected. But we were able to find a concentration of fish at that second spot. And yeah, that little Z-man Slim Swimz came through. That thing must really, like I said, imitate some kind of forage base that the fish utilize out here. Probably caught around 10 bass, I would say. The biggest was probably that last one, pound and a half. So nothing too crazy there, but the fish fought hard. The fish out here in this bigger environment, this bigger body of water, are very healthy, robust, fun to catch, even though they were pretty small. And yeah, I think we learned that Z-man Slim Swimz in particular, maybe a good cold water lure just in general. Like I said before, the action, the tail on it is pretty small. It just has a slight little wiggle and rock to it. It's not kicking really hard back there or vibrating a lot. And I think that maybe is just a more natural looking action in colder water. So yeah, glad we approach this body of water a little bit differently. Like I said, it's pretty big compared to a lot of the places that I fish. And yeah, hopped around, tried some different spots instead of kind of getting bogged down in one area, switching lures a lot. I think it kind of makes sense to hop around a bit when you're fishing a big place like this, and that you have multiple places where you can kind of access the water. So I'm going to keep that in mind in the future, this strategy when I'm fishing out here in the future, for sure. But yeah, it was a cold day, not great conditions. If you haven't already and you've made it this far into the video, you need to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We are putting out weekly fishing content. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and take it easy.